Rosie Shuster was an integral part of the original production of Saturday Night Live as seen in Jason Reitman's latest film Saturday Night. Saturday Night has one of the most stacked ensemble casts of 2024, including plenty of young star actors such as Gabriel LaBelle, The Fabelmans, and Dylan O'Brien, The Maze Runner, and Emmy winners, The Americans, Nicholas Braun, Succession, and Lamorne Morris, Fargo. Oscar winner J.K. Simmons, Whiplash, and four-time Oscar nominee Willem Dafoe, Poor Things, round out the talented ensemble in Saturday Night. Rachel Sennett, Bottoms, portrays Lorne Michaels' wife Rosie Shuster in the film. Saturday Night opened in theaters on October 11, 2024, after it premiered at the 51st Telluride Film Festival on August 31, 2024. The biographical comedy drama premiered with a certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, critic, score of 80% and an impressive popcorn meter, audience, score of 92%. The film chronicles the true story events in the 90 minutes before the premiere of the first ever episode of Saturday Night Live on NBC, which happened at 11:30 p.m. on October 11, 1975. Although Reitman's depiction tends to deviate from factual accounts, Saturday Night successfully encapsulates the chaos of the historic night and the steadfast vision of Lorne Michaels. Rosie Shuster wrote for Saturday Night Live until 1988. She was a writer on seasons 1 to 7, 10 to 13. The ensemble cast of director Jason Reitman's Saturday Night. Rosie Shuster was one of the most impactful figures in the formulation of Saturday Night Live in 1975. Born in Toronto, Shuster was childhood friends with Lorne Michaels. She is the cousin of Superman co-creator Joe Shuster. As legend has it, Lorne Michaels took a special interest in Rosie because he wanted to meet her famous dad, Frank Shuster, of Wayne and Shuster Acclaim. Michaels and Shuster formed a strong collaboration throughout their high school and college years and worked on several comedy sketches. Essentially a package pair throughout their early development, Shuster and Michaels met Dan Aykroyd, Gilda Radner, and Lorraine Newman through their work in television. Following the release of the first episode of Saturday Night Live in 1975, Shuster would go on to be a writer on 161 episodes of the acclaimed comedy series from 1975 to 1988. Shuster was an established writer on Saturday Night Live throughout its first 7 seasons before missing seasons 8 and 9 to return for 10 to 13. She is best known for her works on iconic sketches such as Killer Bees and the Todd and Lisa sketch starring Bill Murray and Gilda Radner. Shuster also wrote several notable sketches for Radner's Roseanne character as well as other Radner characters such as Emily Litella and a parody of Barbara Walters. Rosie Shuster and Lorne Michaels got a divorce in 1980. They were married for 13 years. Rachel Sennett as Rosie Shuster and Gabe LaBelle as Lorne Michaels in Saturday Night. Shuster and Michaels got married in 1967 when she was 17 and he was 22. They were married for 13 years, 5 of which were the formative years of Saturday Night Live. They officially filed for divorce in 1980. Despite their marital differences, Shuster and Michaels were able to maintain a working relationship. Shuster would go on to write several sketches and develop characters for stars such as Dana Carvey and Eddie Murphy throughout the 1980s. While Shuster would not marry again and never had any children, Michaels went on to get married again in 1981 to Susan Forrestal. They divorced in 1987 and Michaels married Alice Barry in 1991. Gabriel LaBelle, who plays Michaels in Saturday Night, discussed the dynamic between Rosie and Lorne in the film with Screen Rant. "I love the relationship Lorne and Rosie have together. I think they've just known each other since they were kids and grew up together. Lorne pretty much grew up in Rosie's house, and they're best friends, who have been writing partners for years. I think it's really fun to kind of tiptoe around that dynamic." Rachel Sennett, who plays Shuster, added, "Lorne's sort of given up, or you're like, go off and do your thing. But you're secretly pining." Did Rosie Shuster leave Lorne Michaels for Dan Aykroyd? Their affair ended before Shuster and Michaels' divorce. A behind-the-scenes shot from the first episode of Saturday Night Live. A major plotline in Saturday Night is Rosie's open affair with Dan Aykroyd during the creation of Saturday Night Live. Although Shuster and Michaels were still married during that time, Michaels was apparently all right with it. As depicted in Saturday Night, Aykroyd was focused on several other women outside of Rosie Shuster, setting the tone that their affair was not necessarily romantic. Aykroyd and Shuster ended their affair before she and Michaels ended their marriage in 1980. While the affair between Aykroyd and Shuster is largely chalked up to the cultural climate of the 70s, there was never any bad blood between Michaels and Shuster. Aykroyd went on to marry actress Donna Dixon in 1983. The couple has 3 children together but separated in 2022. According to People, Aykroyd and Dixon released a joint statement in 2022 announcing their amicable separation. "After 39 years as a couple, we are now on separate life paths. We remain legally married, co-parents, co-workers, and business partners. This is our choice in loving friendship. Aykroyd was also previously engaged to Carrie Fisher during the early 1980s. Rosie Shuster's other writing credits and awards. A young Lorne Michaels on SNL. Rosie Shuster was nominated for 7 Primetime Emmy Awards as a writer on Saturday Night Live, winning Outstanding Writing in a Comedy Variety or Music Series for episode 10 starring Elliot Gould in 1976 and for a 1977 episode starring Sissy Spacek. Her final SNL nomination was in 1987. She was later nominated for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Writing in a Comedy Series in 1993 for her work on The Larry Sanders Show. She also wrote an episode of Square Pegs in 1982. She also wrote several scripts for Individual: The Best of Video starring John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, and Gilda Radner. Shuster co-wrote the Broadway play Gilda Live with Michael O'Donoghue, Marilyn Miller, Alan Zwiebel, and Ann Beats. Mike Nichols directed the play and later adapted it into a feature film. Her last writing credit was for a 2001 episode of Bob and Margaret. Shuster was not an actress but did appear in at least 44 episodes of Saturday Night Live as an audience member and in various other background roles. Her only appearance in a feature film was in 1980s classic comedy The Blue Brothers as a cocktail waitress. Shuster has since stepped away from the entertainment industry but will forever remain a staple name as an originator of Saturday Night Live.